Is this the time to actually drop the pipe bomb? Maybe not now, maybe not yet. Once again, this is a new experience for me, and well, yeah, I did say once a week, but maybe I should try something different, maybe like once in 2 days or once in 3 days. This is still an experiment. We'll know as we go, as we progress. So, yeah, for now, let's do it like Mondays to Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. I don't know. I haven't given a good thought yet. But hey, I did have a pilot episode on IGTV and YouTube, but I feel restricted on IGTV because of its 10-minute limitation. So I'm replacing it with SoundCloud, and there is an RSS link which gets assigned. So all you have to do is sync your RSS with your player, and yes, good morning or good afternoon or good evening. This is the Pipe Bomb, the only podcast for hardwarebbq.com, your source for PC hardware news, reviews, guides and recommendations. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your co-workers, heck, even talk to your ex. Talk to that good looking boy or girl because you couldn't but have similar interests. Because what you're hearing right now can be a great conversation starter. Just like how we started this conversation, you and I. And we are going to have a great conversation. There's this new trailer for a game called Death Stranding, developed by Kojima Productions. And the first thought that comes to my mind is, what is exactly going on over here? But maybe that's what they want to do with this trailer, maybe that's what they want to achieve in this trailer. Because once your questions are answered, eventually you lose interest. It does not stay in your head for that long. Remember when Cyberpunk 2077 got us interested a few years ago? That music was so spot on. Once again, the game is called Death Stranding, and so far it seems to be a PS4 exclusive. Recently I played a game called Breath Edge via Steam, where they have released the first episode, and I really liked it. I also have this title called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. I know it's old, but sometimes the experience of playing an old game is interesting, especially since there is a Redux version. Some old games are still fun, even today. I don't know how many people heard of this game. There's this game series that I can't get out of my head. It's called No One Lives Forever. Now that game needs a reboot desperately, but it needs to be done with care and dedication. Kate Archer and Lara Croft. And the characters were made from scratch. And then there's Gordon Freeman who doesn't talk. Shout out to a couple of people out there. Beast Boy Shub in YouTube Gaming. Some of the videos he makes are with games that most of us wouldn't play. But he takes that content and he takes those seemingly broken games and he makes it entertaining. That's the way you do it. And Sneaky Mari, who streams on Twitch. But seriously, Sneaky, are you crazy? I mean, just because I said you should try Medu Vada with chocolate sauce doesn't mean you should do that on the live stream. She went above and beyond the line of duty by dipping that in sambar and chutney of all things. She ate a whole piece. Well, I can respect that. But a couple of days ago, she had ice cream and Nando's sauce. She DMs me and says like, hey, come and watch. You should be really concerned when people say that. Oh God, what have I done? I may have accidentally started a new challenge. You can spread that cancer if you load those clips on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how pineapple pizza was invented. She calls it Chocomedu. Oh, one thing for sure, most of the Chinese would not know the chronicles of Chocomedu because Twitch is banned in China. But hey, isn't that like a badge of success in a way? But I can see this as a benefit to VPN services. The local streaming services in China would obviously benefit from this. And I'm sure there are a couple of them over there, at least. Not sure about Twitch because China has a huge population that consumes a lot of gaming content. But, it's not a small feat to convince China to unban. But hey, there are VPN services. A couple of years ago, I did get an ExpressVPN Flash Netgear router for its VPN service. It's just a matter of time we find routers with its own VPN services and have a subscription model. Wait a minute, we already have that. Well, not exactly for consumers. Netgear has a site-to-site router which helps small to medium businesses to connect with its branch intranet service from anywhere in the world. It's called the BR500 and it costs 239 euros each. The VPN service is free till end of January 2019, and after that you need to pay for a subscription. Like printer ink to a printer, VPN to a router. The more you ban, the more money you have to shell out to play the game with a frying pan. But calling bans a thing of the past is a stretch by a mile. There are challenges and then there are ways to get around it. Also, you have to wonder if any VPN services archives all that information, irrespective of the claims they make. Remember when simulator games were proper simulators? Not anymore, since we had simulators with goats, surgeons and whatnot. Now we are going to have a simulator called B Simulator, which will be out by spring 2019. It's weird, but in a way it entices you. You're like curious, how is this game? And then you're hooked to it. I mean, I can't get Baby Simulator out of my head because the baby was caked in white powder among other things. That game was a nightmare to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen things you don't want to know. Kingston has released a couple of HyperX SSDs, Savage XO and Fury RGB. Yeah, RGB. And speaking of RGB, TeamGroup also released a lot of RGB stuff almost a week ago. It's good as long as you don't give this to ill-informed and ignorant writers. Like the one who built a $2,000 gaming PC. Or this fella in Men's Lifestyle website who wrote a particular RTX 2080 review. I find a lot of people who write weird things like gaming chairs being compatible with Xbox One and PS4. Which reminds me, I should talk about these guys. But that will be a long conversation. A conversation for another day. This news is not exactly new, but GALAX has a new gaming peripheral sub-brand or main brand called Xanova with an X. They have a couple of headsets, keyboards, mousepads, you know, the usual stuff. I heard HP would also have a set of peripherals too. Lenovo has a keyboard and mouse at a time when I went to Delhi to check out their systems. Well, you know, PC peripherals now is a very crowded market and it shows the amount of interest because, hey, they have interest because it sells. Once upon a time, it was very limited with Logitech and SteelSeries. They did it way before it was cool. Why don't these manufacturers go beyond those peripherals? Why not gamepad? Why not a 2.0 or 2.0 speaker system with a wireless connectivity or an aux 3.5mm jack for a second device and a front headphone jack? I know we have a few Logitech Edifier, Creative has this RGB one. There are a couple of more, but you know, they're not exactly known by a lot of people. Remember the good times when we used to remember speakers by its model numbers? Altec Lansing, ATP3 and the legendary MX5021. A few from Edifier and a couple of them from Klipsch. Good times. Also dynamic cardioid microphones. Razer has a couple of microphones. The Seiren Pro, which we tested I guess a year ago, and the Seiren X. Logitech bought blue microphones. Samsung and Audio Technica have a USB XLR microphones like the one that I'm using. But here in India, those kits are sold at a price too close to the Blue Yeti, when in reality they are half the price at Amazon US. AverMedia has a microphone. Heck, even Amazon Basics have microphones. They have 2 microphones. Oh god, please don't RGB those, will you? But you will if you can. But I did see a particular photograph from HyperX. It's their microphone? Or is it a prototype? Well, it looks too finished to be a prototype. But the photograph is from a tweet made on February 2018. It looks nice. I would like to think it's a real deal, but come on. When? When? The rise and fall of the PC market goes up and down, but I feel we should look at it once in 5 years because the upgrade cycle is far mature than a smartphone or any other devices, even laptops. Well, at least I would like to believe that. Something is done right, at least in the PC peripheral market, but come on. Gamepads, speakers, dynamic microphones. Nowadays, all gamers are getting into streaming. I bought Samsung Q2U to podcast. Now imagine how many people out there podcast. How beneficial it would be for them to have a USB and an XLR output in a microphone. I see a lot of travel and lifestyle bloggers making content on the fly. There's a good market out there. But just one thing, don't provide that silly plasticky three-legged thing that you call a mic stand. Along with a couple of newer QTUs, which is black in color, I bought a couple of Amoon desk microphone. It's metal and it's cheap. If you like to check it out, the links are in the description. I know a lot of people are keeping up with Nvidia RTX trading blows and the memes out there. But one of the main criticisms is the lack of RTX and DLSS titles at the time of launch. Now we have a list of games that support DLSS. Long story made short, DLSS is marketed in a way where you can play games with this feature enabled at higher resolutions with lower load on your computer. There's also an algorithm where it says that it offers better image quality when they are upscaled, but just like how it's provided at its native resolution. They say it will provide a higher frame rate, but it has to work effectively and show significant improvement because Nvidia has lost the momentum to show their graphic cards justify the price. Because of the price tag and no titles to show anything, it's very hard. Many people will give this generation a skip for now. Maybe the prices will fall, maybe not. Maybe people will wait for AMD Navi architecture and decide. Or maybe people will buy the GTX 10 series. Especially the GTX 1070 Ti, the GTX 1080 and the 1080 Ti users. But also something, maybe they have the existing Radeon cards. You'll never know. But all eyes on AMD Navi. Because if AMD Navi is a great performer for the price, Nvidia will have to do something about it. The enthusiast community wins. And let me tell you something, we really need that win. As of now, 16 titles are named. Some of them are Ark Survival Evolved, Darksiders 3, Hitman 2, MechWarrior 5, Scum, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and a happy few. And now we have to wind down today's pipe bomb and a special message from our sponsor, Air. Just get it, because if you don't, you will suffocate and die. China sells Australian Air in a can for $20 each. There are flavors apparently, but hey, a $20 can is far cheaper than flying, living and eating accommodations as a tourist in these countries. Be glad your air is free, but make sure it stays free by keeping it clean as much as possible. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, you guys take care. This is the Sorcerer signing off, and do check out hardwarebbq.com, your source for PC hardware news, reviews, guides and recommendations.